hate it. So world, don't tell me what I got. I'm willing to see it. Hold me down. Bam, ba-da, bam, ba-da, ba-da, bam. Out in the cedar. Well, some terror this time. Hey, Nicola. Everybody loose. Pick up the Sunday shoes. Hey, Kat. Please, Louise. Show me up on my knees. Jack them back. Come on before we get. Lose your blues. Everybody come for loose. Fucking love a dance off. Woo! You're playing so cool. We'll be in every room. Pin way down to your heart. You're burning, yearning heart. So somebody to tell you the life that are passing you by. Woo! Hey, Gemma. Tell you. Just waiting for more people to join. We're going to start. Time. Everybody got loose for loose. Shake up the Sunday shoes. Hey, Audrey. Come on, let's go. Loose your boots. Whoa. Okay, one more minute. I got to turn me around to put your feet on the ground. Dance party Q&As. Okay. Hey, Alexa, can you cut it out? Thanks, darling. Oh my goodness, how are you, Lizzie? Alexa, thank you. Always the girls in Soul to Soul know that. Alexa, please stop. She said, you bet.
Stop the Feeling by Justin Timberlake.
Yeah, no.
Starting now.
No, not now.
Amazon
No,
Music.
not now. Alexa, stop. Such a good song though, Alexa. Such a good song. Oh my God, I just want to sing to you girls, but that's not what this is about.
This
Feeling inside my bones. Okay, Alexa. Fuck, I love this song. Okay, just 5 seconds, Alexa. I've got that sunshine in my pocket. Okay, Alexa, stop. Alexa. My girls in Soul to Soul know that I am clearly still having to work out my relationship with Alexa. Alexa, stop. Darling, please can you jump in? I literally cannot control Alexa. Maybe this is how you feel about men. Hi, Jazz. Okay, I am really here and ready to rock this Q&A with you girls. I just get lit by Alexa. I don't know what else to tell you girls. Confession. Okay, so today's topic. So good to see so many of my soul sisters here. Alice, how are you, darling? Lizzie, I love you so much. Anyway, I'm going to dive right in. So good to have you here. Hey, Marie. And please remember, this is your Q&A. So anything that you want to say, anything that's on your heart, grab me while I'm here, okay? Make the most of this session. So the conversation today is about, many of you really wanting to be in a beautiful soulmate relationship, right? More than anything, it's like, oh my God, I would love to have that. But deep down, there is this absolute gripping fear of terror that you're going to lose yourself. You're going to lose your sense of power. You're going to lose the essence of who you are. And actually, you're terrified to be out of control. A bit like Alexa, who's out of control. But you do. You feel like, oh my God, I don't know who to be in a relationship. Jazz is dying. So first of all, what I want to address is that the irony of losing who you are and having to make a sacrifice in a relationship is that you don't actually know how to be who you are. I see this on every phone call with every woman that's hit my program. And the truth is that you're extraordinary, but you're not living inside of that context right now. You're not in a soulmate relationship with who you really are. And you're not living in the bigness of who you are. You're living in this very small version, and it's a safe version. And so you're clinging to that safety. And basically what's happening is there's a major misalignment of, I really want to have this soulmate relationship, but holy shit, love isn't actually safe to me. I don't know who to be once I start to have feelings. I don't know how to be vulnerable. And I just don't want to let go of this independent woman and this identity that I've worked so hard to create. Give me a thumbs up if this is speaking to you, because most of this community is filled with women that have been clinging to their independence for too long, right, Jazz? And now you're not. But that's something that I used to do as well. So first of all, what I want to just put on the table is really check in with yourself. What are you fighting for in your life right now? Is it to stay independent? Is it to hold on to this strong identity of I've got this, and needing a man to not take too much away from you and just want it to be kind of like this, he meets you where you are and you don't have to actually open your heart too much? Because we've got to get honest about what you really think love looks like, because independence is a whole other conversation I've done lives on, but I'm just going to touch on it. Is protection. Independence is, holy shit, love does not feel safe. I need to have my armor. I need to not let myself go. I need to not be too vulnerable, because the last time I was vulnerable, that didn't work out for me, right? So yeah, you're getting that, Jazz and Marie. And again, this is just filled with so much irony, this conversation, because the very word itself, independence, means I've got this. Okay, I don't need you to come in and pay for my check. I don't need you to hold the door open. These are just really mild examples. I'll give you a bigger one. I don't need you to really be there to hold this space for me, because I'm good. I've got this. I don't need that. Great. So why do you want a relationship? Because a true high vibrational relationship is about two humans connecting from the heart space, right? From a place of openness, from a place of availability emotionally, right? So I just want to hit that whole conversation about being emotionally unavailable. Oh, I keep attracting an emotionally unavailable man and I don't know why. Stop being so confused. It's not rocket science. Truly, you're going to save a lot of time by not living in the confusion and going, oh, okay, well, I must be pretty emotionally unavailable if that's what I keep attracting in. Let me go and take care of that. Let me go and deal with my reluctance to actually let people feel who I really am, and to see that I haven't got everything all together, because it's just an identity issue. So it's also, what's going on here is a very skewed perception of who you think you are in the world right now. And the irony is that many of you are not even operating at 20% of who you are. Yet you're clinging to, I don't want to sacrifice myself. I don't want to lose myself. I'm like, you're not even with yourself. Can we just have a moment to connect with that? You're not even on your own team right now. You're not in a soulmate relationship with your majesty, you, the amazing, divine you. You're leaving her at the door on every date, and you've been leaving her at the door for over decades now. You're not feeling lit up by what you're doing. You're not feeling like you're on purpose, and yet you're fighting to keep it like exactly as it is right now with who you think that you are, and you're protecting that. Can you see the disconnect? It's a flawed premise, and it's just coming from one thing, which starts with a big fat F, fear. Yes, can I get a honk, please? Thank you. I got confirmation from the traffic. My audience is the traffic. But it's amazing. You've got to get clear right now, girls, on what you're actually fighting for, because many of you are fighting to stay safe. You're fighting to stay in your comfort zone, and you want love to look a certain way, for it to kind of be convenient to you, versus doing the deep work to go, well, hang on a minute, who am I really when I'm unapologetically me, when I'm fully self-expressed, when I'm taking up space, when I'm asking for what I want, when I'm really showing who I am with my flaws and my heart open. That's where we start to get into the territory where true love can happen. Yeah, it's like, otherwise it's like trying to get pregnant with freaking, a condom and being on the pill. And it's like, I wonder why I'm not getting pregnant. Because there's so much protection. You've got, protection coming out the wazoo. So we just have to really hit this big fat myth that you've got to sacrifice anything to be in a relationship. And, those of you that are terrified to actually commit, those of you that are terrified to make the wrong decision when it comes to love, those of you that don't trust love, at the end of the day, it's not love you're not trusting, it's you. You don't trust yourself to be enough. And for a man to actually want to commit to you, and for a man to want to continue to show up for you once he gets to know you. Here's the deal. When you are truly exquisitely in love with who you are, right, that is going to translate into you being able to attract that in. When you really accept yourself on a very deep level for all that you are and all that you're not, because none of us are perfect. I'm definitely not. And yet I'm married to the love of my life. Not some guy, the love of my fucking life. The father of my about to be little girl, right? And that's because I had to give up the bullshit of clinging to this identity of who I thought I was. It was like this bravado, this external confidence, instead of actually bringing in who I really was. And what was so special about me that I was leaving at the door was my big emotional life, was my sensitivity, was my big character and big nature, right? And the fact that I'm really deep and really intense and can be too much for some people, but a fucking great, bit of company for the right people, right? But I wasn't owning my magic. And that's what is happening with you girls right now, because it's just, I just keep using the word irony today. It's like you're fighting to stay, to keep the 12% of you protected, when really there's this whole other part of you that you're not even bringing in. And we just can't do love unless we're fully available. And what you're telling yourself right now is that relationships aren't safe, that they are a sacrifice, and you're going around and getting the wrong evidence. You're looking at friends of yours that are potentially having marriage issues, or you're looking at your parents who had major fights and divorce and abuse, emotionally, physically, whatever it was. And so that little girl inside of you is drawing on all the wrong evidence. You know what? Relationships end anyway. They're not safe. They never last. I don't want to have to get rejected. I don't want to have to be abandoned. And so again, you're in this commitment to fighting for your safety. Guess where else this is showing up? I know I can't hear you because you're not talking, but you can post in the comments. It shows up in your finances. Holding on tight. I don't ever want to have to use a credit card. I don't want to ever have to spend more than I have. It's this scarcity. It's this constriction of not trusting in the abundance that exists for all of us on all levels. Health, wealth, in love. It's all about conditioning a brand new belief system and a brand new mindset. Because right now, the one that you girls have, not those of you in my program right now, obviously, because you're working on it like freaking superheroes, but it's flawed. It's absolutely flawed. It's not serving you because it's plugged into lack, and it's plugged into panic and fear, and you don't feel that relationships are safe. And you've got all the evidence to support that and back it up. So really what we're talking about here is a conversation that's actually an illusion. There is no sacrifice when you're in the right relationship. My relationship with this guy, granted, Bengalis, sometimes I upgrade his humor, but but my health is better with him in my life. My vitality, I'm a better human being for having him in my life. He makes me a better person, but I attracted him in from my wholeness. I attracted him in once I'd accepted myself for who I truly am, instead of leaving myself at the door. And I used to, this was the biggest freaking thing that I was doing, is I used to think that I was being authentic and bringing myself in. And I used to think that because I cried, right, in relationships, that I was vulnerable. And I wasn't. I was being needy from my 8-year-old. And she was derailing every single relationship that came my way, because at the core, she was plugged into the fact that relationships aren't safe, that men leave. And so the stakes were so high for my little girl that she was literally like this across my heart. So it wouldn't matter who you put in front of me. That little girl had been in training for years and years and years. And that was what was running my life in my 30s, all the way from 8 years old into my 30s, right? It's diabolical when you wrap your head around it. And each of you right now have a little girl inside of you, or a couple, that are working double time to keep you safe. And you're telling yourself the story that independence is a good thing and I've got to really protect myself and I shouldn't trust too easily. And what I got to say to you is that that's all not who you really are. And the essence of who we are is actually unlimited, and it's beautiful and it's unique. No one is made the same way as you. You have your own heart that's different to anyone else's, your own version of self-expression, your own gifts, your own way of expressing yourself physically, emotionally, and it's a gift. But you're not being that. You're not being the fullest expression of yourself because you're fighting for your safety, and it's very, very small, and it's making you sick, and it's breeding more and more anxiety. It breeds depression. It breeds panic. It affects your ovaries. It affects your reproductive system. It's toxic. It creates autoimmune disorders. It can lead to cancer. It's fucking serious, this conversation of the lengths that we'll go to protect our heart and to stay safe. And that is the majority of people in the world. I don't care if they're married. There are women right now married with children still living in this constrictive paradigm. And that's why there's a very high divorce rate, because we're not actually prioritizing and valuing our own alignment with ourselves and with our heart. And it's a global crisis. It's making people sick around the world because we keep seeking that validity outside of ourselves instead of focusing. If you girls put as much focus on your careers as you did on yourself and getting into alignment and opening your heart, forget about it. That's what my women are doing in Soul to Soul every day, and they're blown away and in awe. Donna, do you need to hammer that right now? They're in awe of who they truly are, and it's like, holy shit, how have I been leaving myself at the door for all these years? It's a travesty. My mum told me, Marie said, all the time growing up that relationships, marriage requires sacrifice. Is that scarcity mentality? Fuck yes. I just remember it made me afraid of relationships and committing. I'm so glad you wrote that, Marie, because you're certainly not the only one that had that. Many of you have grown up with a single mother. So don't trust men. Or you had a father that was absent, or you had a father that was really, really bad to your mum. Whatever, that we can go on and on with all these different versions. But at the end of the day, your little girl collected this story a long time ago, and she's been building muscle year upon year upon year upon year that, you know what? Love isn't safe. Love is a sacrifice. It's only going to cause you pain. How can we possibly trust it? I'm better off on my own. Ring a bell? And we tell ourselves that. And the worst part is that we make it the truth. I get women coming to me that have totally let go of their big dream of being a mum because they've talked themselves into the plan B, and they've convinced themselves that love is just it's a kind of a silly idea, really. Soulmate relationships don't exist. That's just for some people. Not true. Because guess what? I used to be one of those people. I thought soulmate relationships existed for other people. I didn't think that I had the right CV, so to speak, to attract that in. And thank God I got my head set around the right way to actually get into alignment, because I'd just be another walking statistic if I hadn't really taken myself seriously to step the fuck up and to get out of decades of conditioning. I was like, what am I settling for? Who am I becoming? This is bullshit. And that's what you girls are living with. It's like you're eating shit for breakfast, eating shit for lunch, eating these shithouse stories and these shithouse beliefs that are robbing you of the opportunity to be a mother, robbing you of your health right now, robbing what could be in your bank account right now. And I don't want you to beat yourself up. It's not coming from nowhere. It's coming from the years of conditioning and listening to someone else's voice and making that the fucking truth. Right? Kat says, I remember hearing that all the time. Yeah. And it's that voice that we hear as a little girl, and we truly embed that into our subconscious. Or just make do. You don't need to go and wait for the right relationship. Stop being so fussy. Stop being so picky. Just get a guy that'll be a good father. That's scarcity as well. Just settle, basically, is what your mum's telling you. Just settle. It's better off you have someone than no one. Fuck no. To me, that was like a death sentence. And that was my excuse for staying out of a relationship. I was like, well, I'd rather be alone than have the wrong person. Great. It was a great hiding place for me for many, many years. And it wasn't until I felt my fertility on the line that I went, Lucy, how's this story working out for you? That love is hard and that it's a sacrifice and that I'm scared of commitment. I was like, because you're about to hit 40. And if you don't sort this shit out, you better get used to the choices you've got, which is turning 40 alone or with the wrong person and missing out on being a mum. Because I have polycystic ovaries, that syndrome, and I remember being told at 27, you've got to have children right now, otherwise you're going to miss out. So by the time I got to the other end of 30, I was freaking out about my fertility. Oh yeah, and there was big consequences for me not actually making this the most important thing in my life. So what we're really talking about is the masculine version of yourself that's fighting to stay safe and fighting to be in control, right? You've got that inner control freak that's like, nope, not letting anyone in. Versus getting into your heart space, which is the divine feminine. Darling, please, you have to do that right now. Like really, out of the whole day, he chooses to hammer. I love that you're putting the mirror up, but maybe not right now. Look at the face. Look at the face. He's like, what? Could you just hold off, darling? Great. Thanks, darling. Yeah, the divine feminine is you doing the work to get into a whole new relationship with your heart and your truth so that you can trust yourself, trust your decisions, trust your enoughness, and actually start walking tall in the world as the woman that you were born to be. Not as this fucking understudy, freaking 20% version who's got her hands tied behind her back, who's not experiencing deep intimacy or connection or orgasms or moving forward with her life because she feels held hostage by fear and excuses and reasons. And many of you get on the phone with me and you tell me you feel like you are dead while you're alive. That's not okay. It's an epidemic. To be having 30-year-old, 40-year-old, 50-year-old women talking to me and saying they feel like, what's the point? You know, I feel dead. What is the point? Hey, Swati. Hey, Gemma. Hey, Melissa. So I just want to go back to my notes because I took a couple of notes and then I'm going to bounce. But this conversation is about one thing and one thing only. And it's about when you make it your priority to come home to the magic of who you truly are, which defies your culture, which defies your family paradigm and conditioning. And you start to say, I want to go this way. I want to create my own new path. I want to create my own new story. You've got to then put the work in to create the new foundation and the new belief system and the new way of being and the new identity that's actually going to get you there out of the 30 years of conditioning. And that is my mastery, is helping women really come home to the fucking magnificence of who they were born to be. Because you girls have all of this inside of you right now. All of this. You've got the big heart. You've got the potential to be vulnerable, but you've got to learn how to flex this brand new muscle, because crying and giving people ultimatums is not vulnerability. It's not. Vulnerability is letting someone in and letting them really feel you and really connect with you and really see you. And that used to terrify the living daylights out of me. Seriously, I used to be like, nope. Give me a couple more champagnes. I'm not letting anyone see the real me. And you know what? I didn't even know what that looked like anyway. So we've got to fucking hit these shithouse beliefs, shithouse mindsets, shithouse views upon marriage and relationships and whatever garbage you're telling yourselves, and go, who do you need to be in the world to be a woman that can attract love in, and better yet, have him stick around for the long haul, have him be the father of your children. Not just as some man to take them to the park, but an active fucking partner in your life who's there to bring you chicken soup when you're sick, who's there to rub your back when you're crying, who's there to remind you how fucking awesome you are when you forget. That's love. Love is not just chocolates on Valentine's Day and flowers. It's not a ring on your finger. Yes, it's nice to have the ring. Marriage is cool too, but that's not what love is. Love is allowing yourself to be seen and supported and treasured and valued. And guess what you need to get into love? Trust. Trust in yourself and your ability that you are absolutely capable of being able to let that in. It's the receiving energy. It's that delicious feminine energy. Fucking love it. And guess where else you start to receive when you start to do the deep heart work? Everywhere. Your bank account gets better, the opportunities start pouring in, your friendships up level, your relationships with your family up level, your health, your vitality, your cells start dancing. Oh boy, Alexa might start up again. But here's the deal. Without you girls like making this urgent, like I said on a live on Friday, and getting serious about what it's going to take, you're going to pretty much have a carbon copy of 2020 looking like 2019. Because if you look back to 2018 and where you're standing right now, what's changed? Just the date. So stop living in this fantasy of like one day the universe is just going to bring it to me. Well, my man, when I'm ready, he's just going to appear. No, he's not. Without urgency and without taking a stand for yourself and really fighting for that future and being in that energy of, oh my God, I'm ready to step up. I'm ready to commit to my future. I'm really, really ready. There is no change. We've got to deal with that, those inner control freaks that many of you have inside of you right now. Right? I've got women that come to me, well, I'll only do the program if it's like this, or I'll do it if it's like that. Namaste, people, you're not serious about changing your life. My women, they're sitting there going, show me the way, Lucy. I'll do whatever I need to do. I just cannot keep living like this. And then they go and shock the pants off themselves of really what they're made of. So are you going to allow that control freak to keep driving your car down the dream highway? Or are you sick and tired of living in this paralysis of fear and wondering what the point of life is and feeling like you're dead inside and wasting your life and wasting time? Because we don't get time back. And our ovaries and our eggs do not get better with age. They don't. I wish it was like wine, but it's not. And that's the message that I care about, is if you're not taking yourself and your life and your future seriously, no one else is going to fight for you. It's up to you to go, what the fuck is wrong with today, to put a stake in the ground and to go, I matter. I want that dream and I'm going to have it. If it's good enough for other people, why not you? I got sick of seeing all my friends getting married. I was like, I want to be the one walking down the aisle. I want to have orgasms. I want to have intimacy. I want to have a family. And then I looked at myself. I said, well, Lucy, you've got some cleaning up to do, sister. Big time. Because you seem to think that you're doing all this stuff and none of it's working. So I've had to have my own wake-up call times 1,000. Let me tell you something. But thank God I count my lucky stars every day in my gratitude that I did have the courage to wake up and to get the support. Because the support is the beginning of the rest of your life. The support is the feminine. It's saying, I haven't got this. I haven't got it all worked out. My way is not working. And I want a mentor. I want an expert who's made all the mistakes ahead of me, who knows how to get herself out of the hot water and into alignment. That's what it's going to take. How much longer are you going to let your little girl run your life and keep you small and keep you in the story of victimhood and that you just can't have it, that it's not going to work out for you? It's a pretty shitty story. Certainly don't even think about lending me the book. I don't want to read it. Neither should you be. You know, it's kind of, the irony to me is I attract such bright, intelligent women, and when I break it down, I'm like, are you really like gonna have one more day buying into this bullshit story? It's fucking killing you. So that's my message today. That's really it. There's nothing else for me to say other than stop letting yourself off the hook by saying that love is a sacrifice, or that you're going to lose who you are because you don't know who you are and you're not being who you are. Because if you were, we wouldn't be having this conversation. You'd already be in a relationship with the love of your life. But first you have to be that version of yourself. If you end up really, you know, the guy that you end up attracting in is because when you attract in the love of your life, like I have, it was because I learned how to fall madly, deeply in love with myself. Instead of needing a man to make me feel better about myself. I had it so back to front. So then when I was attracting men in, I was just like, here's my power and here's this and take my insecurity. And then I felt stripped bare after about the 5th date going, oh my God, I don't know who to be and I don't know how to navigate this love situation. And that was just a major big reflection that I didn't know how to actually be all of who I was. And it was costing me everything. So I'm sending you tons and tons and tons of love. And if you have any questions when you come back and watch the replay, then hit me up with them. But really, at the end of the day, it comes down to one thing. What do you want? And when do you want it? And if you want the express train, then jump in and let's have a chat and get the support starting, well, as soon as you decide that you're ready to actually step up. Otherwise, just keep doing what you're doing, and please don't expect a different result, and don't bore your friends with the same old bullshit, because it is boring. When you could actually be talking about possibilities and what you want to create in the world and all this other glorious stuff that there is to discuss, it's a no-brainer. But you gotta make a commitment to get out of the way and to step up. Okay? Mwah! Big love. I'm gonna go and hang out with Alexa and my dog and my husband.